You open YouTube. A video promises to change your life. Another says, 5 habits of successful people. You save them all. You feel inspired. You tell yourself, this time I'll do it. But somehow, nothing really changes. You still procrastinate. You still feel anxious about money. You still tell yourself you'll start next Monday. And that's when it hits you. Maybe self help isn't helping. Maybe it's just helping you stay hopeful while you stay stuck. Because what if the system of self help was never meant to set you free? What if it was designed on purpose to keep you chasing, buying, and believing that you're almost there? This video isn't about hating self help, it's about exposing the illusion that keeps millions stuck in self improvement purgatory. The one that promises growth but sells dependence. Let's talk about it. Chapter 1. The Motivation Addiction. Let's start with the first trap, motivation. Every video, every seminar, every quote gives you that instant dopamine hit. It makes you feel like you're changing, and that's the addiction. You mistake emotional energy for real progress. It's the same hit your brain gets from sugar or social media, short, satisfying, but unsustainable. The self help industry knows this. That's why the content is designed to inspire you, not empower you. Because empowered people don't buy, uncertain ones do. Think about it. If a video actually solved your problem, you wouldn't need another one tomorrow. But they don't want you free. They want you motivated enough to keep watching. That's why you'll hear wake up at 5 a.m., read more books, grind harder, stay disciplined. They sound like solutions, but they're really control loops. They teach obedience, not awareness. They keep you chasing a version of yourself that never arrives. Of course, it doesn't mean we should avoid it completely. Small doses of dopamine actually helps. But stop chasing motivation. Start chasing momentum. Do one uncomfortable thing every day, something small, real, and boring. Because growth doesn't feel good, it feels awkward. And if it feels awkward, it's working. Chapter 2. The Knowledge Loop. Next, the illusion of
knowledge.
you tell yourself, I just need to learn more first. So you buy another book, another course, another program. But knowledge without action is just a distraction with good branding. In psychology, there's something called the illusion of competence. It's when your brain confuses understanding something with mastering it. You watch a video on emotional control and suddenly you feel like you have it. Until life tests you and you realize you don't. The self help industry thrives on this illusion. They don't sell results, they sell reassurance. Every new secret gives you temporary certainty that you're finally getting closer. But progress isn't about knowing more, it's about knowing less and doing more. It's about subtracting, not stacking. So every time you consume new content, stop and ask yourself, where in my life can I practice this right now? If you can't find an answer, close the video. Because wisdom isn't downloaded, it's earned through discomfort. Chapter 3. The Identity Trap. This is where it gets deeper. Some people don't chase knowledge anymore. They chase the identity of someone who grows. They buy journals, quote Stoic philosophers, post day one of healing journey. And slowly, self-improvement becomes their personality. It feels good to be the one who's improving. It gives you validation, especially in a world that rewards working on yourself. But that's the quiet trap. Because eventually, you stop growing and start performing growth. You don't seek change anymore, you seek recognition for trying. You feel proud of doing the work even if the work leads nowhere. The industry feeds this perfectly. It gives you identity kits, the mindful one, the hustler, the alpha, the healed feminine. You pick a label, you join a tribe, and you start consuming content that keeps that identity alive. But here's the paradox. Real growth kills your old identity. It doesn't decorate it. You can't heal while holding on to the version of you that was wounded. So what do? Let go of being the person who improves. Be the person who changes quietly. Growth doesn't always look wise. Sometimes it looks like disappearing, failing, and starting over. That's real transformation, not aesthetics. Chapter 4: The Outsourced Authority. Let's talk about the guru trap. The more uncertain you feel, the more you crave authority. You want someone to tell you what to do, what to believe, how to live. That's why the self-help industry manufactures gurus, figures that represent clarity. They talk with confidence, posture, and charisma. And we love it because confidence is addictive when we're lost. But here's the dark side. Every time you look outward for permission, you weaken your inner voice. You forget how to trust yourself, you stop experimenting and start imitating. They don't sell guidance, they sell dependence. You follow every step, every rule, until you forget how to think freely. And the system wins, because the more obedient you become, the more products you buy. So start questioning the advice, even mine. The goal isn't to follow perfectly, it's to find what works for your wiring. You don't grow by copying, you grow by confronting. Take insights, test them, and discard what doesn't fit. That's how you rebuild your compass. Chapter 5: The Infinite Upgrade Loop. And finally, the upgrade trap. The system sells you the idea that you're always one step away. One more level, one more mindset shift, one more version of yourself. It never ends. Because if you ever arrive, you'd stop buying. So they move the finish line. Every year, a new buzzword: manifestation, vibration, high performance, masculine energy, shadow work, quantum leap. Different labels, same addiction. And it's profitable because people confuse growth with upgrading. You think if you optimize enough, you'll feel whole. But wholeness was never missing. It was just buried under endless improvement. Stop upgrading, start integrating. Instead of chasing the next version of yourself, learn to live as who you already are, fully, presently, imperfectly. Because growth doesn't mean becoming more, it means remembering what you've always been. Final truth: the greatest scam of self help isn't lies, it's distraction disguised as progress. You don't need another book, you don't need another guru, you don't need another level. You need to stop escaping yourself in the name of improving yourself. And when you finally pause and look at the patterns, you'll realize you were never broken. You were just trained to believe that staying in the loop was the same as living free. So next time you feel the urge to fix yourself, try this instead. Sit still. Listen. Act on one truth, not 10. Because real transformation isn't about adding more. It's about subtracting everything that keeps you chasing. And that's what the Money Mirror Playbook is about. Not to give you another system, but to help you see the money systems you're trapped in. To show you what's real and what's just another illusion dressed as advice. Because the truth is, they sell hope. But you are the change. If this message spoke to you, hit subscribe so you don't lose it to another how-to video. Each week, we uncover one more illusion that keeps you stuck and one truth that sets you free.